Oh, don't they have to be over 18 to be together? Otherwise, it's
I have no idea. I wasn't able to find out that information, and several
different.
other things that I would like to have known that I couldn't find out.
Yeah, otherwise, over here, it's sort of 18 and under. It's like a juvenile prison, as it were.
Yeah.
Or institution, wherever you want to be
Well,
placed and
here
called.
it says he was a short stay at Riverside Hospital, Seven Sisters, North London. It doesn't say it was maximum security or anything. It might have been like an open hospital. Could have been a visitor. I don't know.
Fair enough.
It never said. But ideally, I'd have loved to have like Nisha's parents. Obviously, we can't because of times and so on and so forth. But ideally, I would love to have been in touch with these people that were connected with the victims and have that conversation. So as we could understand more logically, because we read from what we pick up from the internet, we read from a script, we read from our understanding of a situation.
Oh.
But it would be the equivalent of 20 people telling my story, and it's nice, and it's really good, and it's personal, and it interacts a lot with what I try and get out there with my story.
Definitely, it's different from the people surrounding them, or
Exactly.
we can't say the victim in this sense.
But we'd know more from the people who knew her.
Yeah,
and it would be so much
close
more
friends
impactful.
and family. Definitely.
And so much more right to be telling her story, because as much as we do explain these things, it's like they're not dramatised or glorified, but the intent always seems to be to push the most gruesome or the most disgusting or the most vile, because it is like the shock factor, and it is like horror, and it is like thriller, and it's that comes across when what we're actually trying to get across is that these people shouldn't have been silenced in the first place. These people should have gone somewhere with that, even if it was being a shop worker for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
We don't know if she was into ballet or would have become a superstar or played basketball, and we will never know because of these things that happened to her. And I'd like to know their story and their parents. Even if their parents turn around and went, you know what, she was a pain in the arse. She never did this job properly. As long as we learnt something about her. No, I hope they wouldn't, and it's highly unlikely they would. But at least we would know something real about the individual.
Yeah, I do understand that we don't have anything personal to that victim that you can say, hey.
She was on the phone, she got beaten with a claw hammer. That's what we have.
Yeah.
And that's the sad truth. That's the sad truth, that that's what we have, and that's what people remember. So, it was agreed on February the 17th, 2004 he could leave the ward as much as he wanted. By 7 p.m, he was dismembering his friend Bryan Cherry.
That's nice of him.
That's a little different. We've taken a leap.
A very big leap.
So we've gone from blowing raspberries on a 16-year-old girl to, before that, taking a claw hammer to a girl that he loved, in his words.
He's definitely got some sort of sexual...
To, before that, trying to throw a man off a balcony.
Thing going on there.
Trying to kill himself from the 3rd floor. Bit dubious. To getting himself released on the 17th of February 2004, and by 7 o'clock that night he was dismembering his friend Bryan. At 43 years old, Bryan Cherry was a nice man. Lonely, with no friends, he lived at number 1 Manning House, The Drive, Walthamstow. At 7:15 p.m, Bryan's friend Nicola Newman let herself into the flat to find a big smell of disinfectant. Peter Bryan emerged from the living room bare-chested and holding a kitchen knife, where he stated simply, "Bryan is dead." Prosecutor Aftab Jafferji told the Old Bailey she hadn't believed him and went to look in the room, where she saw Mr. Cherry naked on the floor, with one of his arms clearly separated from his body.
Well, that would have been a bit of a sight, wouldn't it?
A little bit.
I don't know if you'd be upset, shocked, fear, because you're now in a position where you know that other person in that house holding that knife has done that.
I actually didn't take this guy's dimensions. I should have done, but this isn't a small bloke. This
So
is a big fella.
You'd be really anxious. You'd be really scared of what he was going to do next.
This guy opens the door with a knife in his hand, caked in blood, bare-chested, a big black fella. He's taken up the doorway, and he goes, "Brian's dead." You look round, and Brian's on the floor, and part of him's on another part of the floor. Yeah, how'd you react to that?
I think unless you're literally in that position, you wouldn't know how your body would respond and react to that. You can say how you think you might react, but when it comes to that situation, sometimes your body will have a completely different reaction.
Yeah, that's fair. I've been in situations where I'd have said previously I'd have reacted one way and I've froze. That's happened to me twice. I'm not going to go into that yet, but that's happened to me twice, and that was really hard. And I've been in other situations I didn't expect to be able to handle, and I've dealt with it, whether it's a first aid or a real issue, a physical issue, and I've dealt with it in ways that I didn't think I'd have dealt with it before, but it's been handled well. But I've had 2 occasions where I've froze, so this could have gone either way.
Definitely.
Police arrived to Peter stood in the doorway with blood-stained jeans, trainers and hands. In the kitchen they found... Go on, can you guess what they found?
No, go on, just say it.
Have a guess. Let's see if you can guess what they found.
It's clearly got his arm away.
He's taken his arm off.
So...
And it was his friend, Bryan Cherry. This isn't some guy he's hating.
I would imagine.
Something to do with his arm, you would imagine. Mm-hmm. Police arrived to Peter stood in the doorway with blood-stained jeans, trainers and hands. In the kitchen they found an open tub of clover, a frying pan and some meat.
Nice.
The meat... What was the meat, Ellen?
The arm.
The meat was Bryan Cherry's brain.
Oh. But the woman only said his arm had come off, as it were.
Yeah. She didn't go over the whole autopsy at the time. There was a big black fellow with a knife covered in blood, and this poor fellow that she knows and potentially cared about to some degree.
But you didn't mention that his head had been affected, shall we say.
I did this for shock purposes.
So that wasn't the scene that she arrived to. The scene that she arrived to was something different to what you said.
This is true. But the scene the police arrived to was Peter stood in the doorway with blood-stained jeans, trainers and hands. In the kitchen they found an open tub of clover, a frying pan and some meat. And the meat was Bryan Cherry's brain. It's not what you automatically think of, is it, Anne?
No.
More brain tissue and hair matted with blood was piled onto a plate beside the draining board, complete with a knife and fork.
Yuck.
Peter said, can you hazard a guess to what Peter said? So far all of his words have been quite simplistic,
I actually feel sick.
Quite short. Do you need some food?
No, definitely don't.
Okay. Make like a chili cheese and chicken
Carry
sandwich.
on.
Right? You genuinely are off a thick. I don't want to do this anymore. Hazard a guess at what he said. He's just been caught.
Did he offer them some?
No, but bless you, that's epic. That would have been gold. It would have been like, what's wrong with you? You want a sandwich? No, that would have been gold. It would have been wrong, but it would have been gold. Peter said, I ate his brain with butter. It was nice. He later added, I'd have done someone else if you'd not come along. I want their souls. So what's the picture you're getting of this guy now? Other than...
He has extremely poor mental health.
Yes.
Extremely poor mental health. And I'd say obviously not a lot of support and help out there either.
Okay. So he was admitted because he was a paranoid schizophrenic. So yes, he definitely has poor mental health. And bless him. And not all schizophrenics are psychopaths or killers or whatever, and not all paranoid schizophrenics are necessarily problematic, and schizophrenia comes in many, many different forms. They're not all this guy. So if somebody comes over and says, hey, you know, I'll be honest with you, I'm schizophrenic, don't automatically start running for the hills. Some schizophrenics actually hear positive things, or see positive things, or witness different forms of their psychosis that aren't detrimental to them or to other people, but is still part of a condition. At the same time,
Yeah.
it is definitely something to be aware of, because if somebody does have that condition, it can be hugely impactful on their life and other people's.
Yes.
But I don't want to see it as a wholly negative thing. It's really not in every case.
No, every case is different, and
Yeah.
every individual is different. Like anything.
We know 2 people now, without going into too much detail. We know 2 people now, not just one. So there is being aware of it, and then there's being aware of it. They're 2 different things.
Yeah.
However, he did say, I want their souls. I mean, that was pretty specific.
Yeah. Do you think their souls are contained in their brain and he has to eat them?
Interesting, because I can't remember the faith, but wasn't it one of them that believed that if you eat the... I don't want to now start saying, oh yeah, it was
I don't
this
know.
in case I was wrong.
I'm really
I
not
believe
sure.
it was Haiti and black magic. I can't remember the name of it, but I could be wrong. That they believed if you eat the dead, that you would generally live longer. Look at the soap maker killer. She literally wanted her son to live longer, so she killed people and broke their body down and turned them into soap.
Oh, yeah,
And
do you know
washed
what? I
her
do
son
remember
in
that,
it
yeah.
and fed people the cakes, including her son, to help her son to live longer.
Yes.
So it's definitely been done before. It's not nice, but
Yeah.
it's been done before.
That was like the 1800s, I think, wasn't it?
It was a long time ago. Mr. Cherry's skull had received how many blows? Let's have a quiz. See how close you can get.
Oh, 1 blow.
1 blow. Is that what I get if you win?
None.
Mr. Cherry's skull had received at least how many blows?
We've just said, I think it's...
You think it was just one impact and he
one
just
impact.
pulled his brain out? You know how hard the skull
Well, no,
is?
one impact to, like, kill him.
Oh, okay. No, in the end, in totality.
Oh gosh.
Bear in mind, he's had to get through some, you know, like about
Yeah.
trepanning in Egypt and stuff, right?
I think, I wouldn't even impart, like, to hazard a guess on it.
Okay, 24.
Yeah.
Jesus. Mr. Cherry's skull had received at least 24 blows with a hammer, and his head had been partially sawn off. How either ingrained in your job must you be? Now, if you're a coroner, you're a surgeon, you're a butcher, or even a farmer or a vet that has to do some really intricate surgery type works, or, you know, a butcher that cuts up meat all the time, then I understand how you can kind of disassociate from this and just be like, it's meat. But I don't understand, in this guy's case, he wants their souls. There's something intimate about this. Yeah, this was his
he has
friend.
got very
This wasn't some guy who's gone, he's a scumbag, I'm going to have him. This was his friend.
intimacy problems.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. I love you. Hammer time. Yeah, he's got some serious intimacy issues. Damn. He'd also removed his right leg and hacked off both arms. The severed left leg was partially sawn and partially fractured.
Okay.
Any ideas why?
Because he couldn't get through, or he got disturbed.
Well done, yeah. The pathologist concluded Peter had been disturbed before he could complete the final amputation.
Nice.
Peter admitted, I am comforted by the smell of blood. He added as way of explanation, I used the Stanley knife to cut them, and some other kitchen knives, but I had to stamp on them to break the bone. Wow.
There's no psychological connection there at all.
You say that there's usually a steady progression with killers. So you'll beat your sister, then you'll go outside and rip the head off a magpie, and then you'll kill a dog, and then sooner or later you're either going to rape or hurt somebody seriously.